As we mentioned, President Trump today announced sweeping new tariffs to promote U.S. manufacturing, but the move risks a quick economic downturn led by higher prices and the uncertainty of a trade war with other countries. Joining us now is Dale Rogers from ASU's W.P. Carey School of Business. Good to have you here, Dale. Really appreciate you coming in on this day and helping us make sense of everything that was announced today. What are your initial thoughts?
Well, it makes sense. I don't think they make sense. The tariffs that were announced today are much worse than I think people were anticipating, except for, and I know you're going to have talk about Canada after me. For Canada and Mexico, they weren't as severe. So, a new 34% on China, 90% on Vietnam. These are really tough. And if they're real, which they're getting to seem more real every day, although are they real? We don't know. This could be bad.
We got, you mentioned China 34%, the EU 20%, Japan 24%, India 26%. Again, that is more than expected, right?
Yeah, it's much larger. And there must be some master plan that I'm not aware of, because we really have 150 years of economic theory that show tariffs are bad. And we know, sort of opposite what the president said in the Rose Garden today, we know that the Smoot-Hawley tariffs in 1930 had a lot to do with bringing on the Great Depression. And this idea of a sudden shock, and we're going to jack up the price immediately, and everybody has to pay it. You can't move plants that fast. It really is crazy.
Will we see things like special aid to farmers like we did during the Trump tariffs back in his first term? These sorts of carve-outs and cutouts?
I think they'll probably have to do that. The 2018 tariffs they put on, there was really tons of carve-outs. And while it did have a very negative impact on certain industries and American companies, overall they weren't too bad, because, if you were paying the tariffs in 2018, you really didn't know what you were doing, because there's ways to get out of it.
Right. You mentioned, again, China 34, Japan 24, India 26, EU 20. And we're very concerned about what happens to Americans when these tariffs go into effect. What happens to those countries?
Well, I was really worried about Mexico and Canada, because they're so tied to our economy. And if I was, in charge in either one of those places, I'd be thinking we need new customers. Our old customer is not reliable.
Yeah.
The thing he said in the clip you just showed, economic independence, we've really built this structure over the last 70 years of interdependence, and we're going to tear it down in a year or a month or a 4-year presidential term. It doesn't really make sense.
One of his quotes is, "The country's been looted, pillaged, raped, plundered by other nations." Does he have a point?
No, I don't think so. I mean, where does everybody want to live? They want to live here, and it's partly because we move the messy stuff off our balance sheet and we move it to other places. Should we be sewing clothes? You got a beautiful tie on, Ted.
Thank you.
Should we be sewing ties here in the U.S.? It doesn't make any sense to do that when we can move that outside the United States and get it done for a fraction of the cost. You don't want your tie to cost $500.
No, I really don't. Another quote, "Jobs and factories will come roaring back into our country." Does he have a point there?
Well, I think probably there will be some movement, but the problem is that supply chains are complex, and there's a lot of stuff that gets manufactured that we don't know how to do, and it'll take us several years to bring back that capability. And do we even want to? Do we want to assemble computers here? I don't think we do.
He says that this will pay down our national debt, will generate trillions and trillions of dollars. What do you make of that?
Well, who will pay those dollars? So basically, if we're going to, because I think what they want to do is get rid of income taxes and go back to tariffs like we did up until 1913. And really, that's a trade where you're trading a tax on income, where people that make more income have to pay more, for a consumption tax, because that's what a tariff really is. And a consumption tax, the burden will be on just regular people.
Interesting.
People that voted for him.
Yes. He also targeted non-monetary barriers, things like currency manipulation, subsidies, theft of intellectual property.
In my classes, we call those non-tariff trade barriers. And like, for instance, Japan, they didn't want American popcorn to come into Japan. So they would do this test to say you have to have less than 2% of the kernels that don't pop. So all the popcorn companies in the U.S. had to change that. Canada stopping yo-yos from coming into Canada, because all of a sudden, just in the last couple of months, those are a strangulation hazard. So there's lots of ways to slow down stuff you don't want.
So he's got a bit of a point on that issue, does he not?
Well, yeah, it'd be nice if they would stop those.
Yes.
But we have the same stuff. I mean, on ethanol, we do the same thing so that we are not getting drowned in Brazilian ethanol. So we do that as well.
Well, and also, you don't want to throw out the baby with the bathwater here,
right,
as far as something that big. He said that experts were wrong about NAFTA, they were wrong about China, and they were wrong about his first-term tariffs. You're an expert on those first-term tariffs. Did you get it wrong?
They did harm several industries, but there were so many carve-outs, it's almost like the tariffs weren't real. And what happened is that they weren't that big, and there was a bump, and it did, I remember when you really saw business-to-business activity slow in 2018. FedEx missed their earnings. I think you and I have talked about that before in both the third quarter of 2018 and the fourth quarter, because of business-to-business slowdown. The consumer stayed hot. In this case, I think the tariffs will hurt the consumer. And that's really what's been driving our economy for the last 10 years.
With that in mind, last question here. What do we look for? What will be the first indication, provided these things go into effect? He signed them, so they're going to happen, I guess, at midnight. But provided they go into effect and they stay in effect for a considerable period of time, what do we look for? Good, bad, and all points in between?
Well, it takes a while for stuff to ripple through the supply chain. We're already seeing higher costs due to the steel and aluminum tariffs that have been on. One of the things with the Logistics Managers Index, which you and I often talk about, the last 2 weeks in February, December, January, and the first 2 weeks of February were really hot. The last 2 weeks of February, we're seeing logistics activity really slow down, and for the whole month of March. So that's brand new. It just came out on Tuesday, but we've seen a dramatic decrease in prices for transportation and warehousing.
Interesting. All right. Always a pleasure having you here and helping us, again, make sense of a lot of stuff that is
something that doesn't make sense.
Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Great to be with you.